Dear Venerable Sisters and Dhamma friends, today also we are going to take time for a question and answer session. To start the session, Sunil may present the written questions. Meanwhile, if there are any other, you may feel free to present to the discussion. So we are going to start with all the written questions. Please.
Most Venerable Bhante, Pabbasara Midam Chitta. Could you kindly explain how does such Chitta, bright mind free of hindrances, manifest itself to a yogi? It is by way of seeing or feeling or experiential knowledge. Much merit to you.
So that is what I was explaining for the last few days. So you have to listen to all the series again. Then you can start how from the normal mind it come up to the lustrous mind. And yesterday we came to that. So it is the same thing asking again. So someone has to carefully listen to the talks. Or otherwise go back to the normal text of the Dhathu Vibhanga Sutta. It explains from the normal common beings to how the mind gets refined and come up to the pure kind of or purified kind of consciousness that is easily attributable to this phrase, Pabbasara Midam Bhikkhave Citta. So be patient and listen again to the same series and it will be the answer for the first question.
Venerable Bhante, what is Vibhanga Citta? Has Lord Buddha mentioned about them? Thank you. Has Lord Buddha mentioned Gandhabba state, or is it a later addition by Mahayana sect?
So these things, don't proliferate this kind of thing because this is not a retreat to do like this. This is a retreat we are trying to focus upon one of the objects and try our best to not to waste time. So both these are theoretical questions. I am not telling it is wrong. But the way we are tackling this meditation retreat, we are very pragmatic. We try to be in the practical side, so pulling all the kind of this and that concept into that. I think that 40 people, I can't mislead people. I try my best to reduce the meditation into straightforward, simple, and when you are putting all the concepts, I feel wastage of time. So therefore, these are just mere theory for the sake of theory and misleading questions. But these concepts are definitely not in the canon. And therefore, when I am criticizing, I may complain other people. I may criticize other people. And it is also not good for me. So therefore, we will do away with this kind of question. If you have anything related to your meditative life, related to your meditation, then we can take it up. Otherwise, we have to call a conference on this kind of thing. And from the beginning, I will deny. I have no interest on that kind of thing. So therefore, please do away with this kind of theory for the sake of theory. And because I see it as a, from the meditating people, other directors, the discussion will be going from our main team and the wastage of time. So therefore, we will go to the next.
Venerable Sir, may we have some guidance, instructions on practicing standing meditation and its benefits as you see it?
For postures, for cardinal postures, sitting meditation, sitting, standing, walking and lying down, these are the 4 cardinal. So for the beginners, it is recommended sitting meditation because the posture maintained by itself. So need no any kind of intention or any effort. And with compared to that, walking meditation is kind of effortful or intentional task you have to do. So these 2 are usually introduced to the beginners, leaving aside the standing meditation and the lying down. But when you are practicing, keep on doing in a regular basis, you may find that while you are lying down, before you fall into sleep, that is also good time you can make use it, either by the contemplating on the posture or your primary object, rising and falling, or in breath and out breath. Standing posture, also in between sitting and walking, it is good for the question of sloth and top. Because that sitting posture, no maintenance necessary, so easy to fall into sleep. But if that weakness is there, you can try standing posture. That is usually explained just before the walking meditation. In the general instructions for the walking meditation, you are facing your walking path, you stand still and contemplate that here now I am standing. So when you are symmetrically standing, you can compare it with the sitting posture. Sitting posture is like a pyramid shape, and the standing posture is just like a candle or like a peg driven to ground. So you can understand the postural difference, anatomical difference, and then keeping the attention here, there, and make yourself symmetrical and relaxed, and either you can be aware of here, now I am standing. That is the posture. Or you can be aware, if it is available, the rising and falling or in-breath and out-breath, and try to let the body to maintain the posture, and either you focus the attention to your standing posture or to in-breath and out-breath. This is a good remedy for sleepiness when compared to the sitting meditation. So you can apply it appropriate way as and when you develop your meditation career.
Yeah, a few minutes after I started my in-breath, out-breath meditation, I noted that my breath became subtle and I started having scratching sensation on my earlobes and either side of my face. This is a new experience for me. As last year, I had a sensation of hardening of my back muscles. This time I didn't get back spasms, but the facial sensations were much more irritable. As I stopped sitting meditation, the scratching sensation stopped, but came back immediately as soon as I started. I persisted with my meditation and the facial sensation gradually faded. Am I doing this correctly? Interestingly, when I tried in-breath, out-breath meditation yesterday evening at about 9 p.m., the scratching feeling was not there. But instead I was beginning to feel back scratch.
So if you, the facial the muscles and the scratching kind of thing appear to be a nuisance, but if you take it as a blessing, if you consider it as a foresight or sign to say that mind is now concentrated within the body, then it will be just a sign. Sign, of course, it's auspicious sign or benevolent one, and that indicates mind is now happily within the body. If it is not so, you have to have so much of facilities, make the mind to be facilitated inside the body. This is a very clear sign. Mind is now happily within the body. When it comes, the sensation otherwise gone unperceived will be amplified due to your attention and the mindfulness. So therefore you may find sometimes the face, the other places, each and every time, each and every second, each and every thought moment, the brain needs feedback from all the living cells. So nervous system have a reciprocal signals, some signs, orders and the volitional demands and commands on the brain to that particular cells or the tissues or the organ, and these organs also in return sending messages. It's a very complicated, intricate communication system. So this you slowly try to understand how is the circuits are working. So that indicate these places where you feel, they are in a relaxing process, they are in a healing process. So if you recognize this as a positive sign, good omen, it's a very clear indication mind is slowly becoming one-pointedness. And otherwise, if it is going to make it as a nuisance, then it appears like a distraction for your primary object. But my suggestion is to take it as a good sign and let that be aside, and still you can be with the primary object. More and more you go there, you can understand your whole body without looking at through your carnal eye. Everywhere there is a sign to indicate that it is living. Not only one muscle, not only one organ, but each and every cell, each and every RNA, DNA is sending a message. So if you are very dear and near to that, you need no any specialist. You need no any other medicine. You need no any other exercises that indicates what the body is doing, what is necessary for your healing. But whenever you are absent-minded or you are not mindful, you have to have gadgets, you have to have specialists, you have to have special combination of vitamins and all the kind of thing. That is the punishment because you are not friendly with your body. If you are immediate, you are friendly, if you are listening to your body knowledge, that's the most expert source of knowledge. But unlucky enough, we are making ourselves busy, other-directed and minded outwardly. So we need so much of gadgets. We need so much of specialists. We need so much of formulated formulas of vitamins and nutritions. Otherwise, the body knows itself. So this is called the accumulated knowledge from throughout our evolution. Each and every human being is endowed with this knowledge, but unlucky enough, no one believe it. They believe doctors know it, but doctors are the worst lost. Because they are concerned about the money, other people. So therefore they don't know about their body, they don't know about the other bodies, and they are specialists about earning money and making diseases for the healthy people. Any organization. So organization means vicious. Individual means pure by itself. So try to be with yourself. All the messages indicate something very serious signal or mission. Listen to them, and they are always in the healing process. But if you neglect it, they are accumulating ultimately, end up with one or the other eruption. So if you have enough solitude, enough patience, enough pleasure, peace, then you will be living with your body signals. But if whatever it happens, then you find that what does it mean by living? So if you are not mindful, you are losing. But when the mindfulness becomes very, very aligned, very efficient, not only you can feel the other person in close by also. It's exactly the same machine. So you can feel it. That is how the telepathic connection can happen. So you can read others' emotions. You can read other feelings. First of all, you have to read your own feelings and accept them as something real, something under your very nose. Don't try to avoid them, don't try to escape. And then you can have understanding. That is why, that is how the Buddha developed so much of compassion to all the living beings, because he knows very well about within his body, in this very moment. So while the Buddha was walking for the arms rounds, it appeared to be he is looking at the downcast eye, about 2 meters like, and is very slowly walking. But the periphery of 4 miles, he can listen to everything. He can see what is happening everywhere. He can feel everything. So therefore it's like a radar scan. It's working. His mind is very calm and quiet, relaxed. So the radar is working. Whatever is necessary, he can focus it and come to know. But when and where you are unmindful, these all things are becoming absent. And even, not only that, even when we mindful and when the body going to give original signal, our crafty mind going to say something wrong with our body, something disturbing our mindfulness. Of course, it is an outcome of your mindfulness, so therefore try to develop positive feeling as far as it is not a hallucination, as far as it is not a mind-made. If it is happening, it is definitely a good sign.
Venerable Sir, in your publication titled Towards Inner Peace, you speak of consciousness unrelated to the senses, and that if a yogi can reach this stage and have continuous mindfulness, it will be possible to contemplate on the operation of the mind and achieve equanimity. Could you please explain as to how a yogi could achieve this stage? If this is prematurely asked, could you please incorporate this in a future Dhamma talk? May you be well, happy and peaceful.
So this is, if you are to talk in absolute terms, people may find that is something not found in the canon, it is heretic and all the kind of thing. But partially you can understand when and where you are related with your object. For example, the breath, it is sensory touch or touch sensation. You may say you are experiencing it through your body tactile sensation, through your body organ, the skin, through the skin. So that indicates, as far as your mind is face-to-face with the breath or rising and falling or whatever may be, your eye faculty and the visual objects become immaterial and null and void. And your ear and the sounds become null and void. The nose and the smells, tongue and the taste all gone, because you know it is well focused on the bodily tactile sensation. So there is partially you can test it and experiment. Whenever the mind is absorbed into the primary object, of course with a certain amount of momentum, external sound make no much of a disturbance. And no visual objects, no smell, no taste. And under such circumstances, if the breath also disappeared, what happens? You are not connected to any sense organs, but verily you know the gross breath, the subtle breath, the subtlest breath, and that is also disappeared. Then verily you can understand that is the only moment you are living, but that very vigilant, diligent moment, eye, the sound, the visual objects, ear, the sounds, nose, the tongue, smell, tongue and the taste, and the body and tactile go on. Then you can, sometimes you can awaken into that. You can understand the breath is the only thing I had, that's also gone. So this is a kind of Amindriya Patibaddha, not related to the senses, but you can see how contented you are, how satisfied you are, how saturated you are. That is called immaterial kind of a pleasure. The visual object, the sound, the taste, the smell, the touch, everything gone. All your faculties are of course living, but they are also benumbed, or they are also gone null and void. But you can understand the contentment. So you can, therefore, philosophically you can argue that is the only moment you feel contented. As far as you are engaged in eye and visual object, due to that engagement, ear goes null and void, nose, tongue, body. So that means you are living 1/5 of your capacity. When you are listening, instead of the eye, you are going to the ear, you are living only 1/5. When you are happily and fully smelling, all that is called dominancy, it dominates all the other 4. When you are happily tasting something wholeheartedly, taste is dominating everything. When the breath becomes your primary object, all the other 4 dominating. So even the breath, once the breath also gone, then you find all the 5 are open. Your potential is there. Your potential is not collapse into one particular thing to dominate and others to suppress. So that is the only moment mind is full-fledged. That we can say wholehearted. Otherwise always it is partial. So therefore whatever the worldly knowledge, it is never complete. They have one facet. When one facet is dominating, all the other four is suppressed. So therefore, if you know which faculty is dominating, that means your mindfulness is very good doorkeeper. It knows at least. Then you can understand, I see this whole phenomena through seeing faculty. So that is, you are not hearing, not smelling, not touching, not tasting. But when you are confirming the phenomena through listening, you have to understand all the five, all the other four suppressed. So that knowledge is very important. Then only you will never claim what I am telling is the truth, others are false. Because you know you are also talking with the partial truths. Understanding very partial nature make you very humble. Make you very ready to accept others. So you will never be arrogant. In and where you do not know that, you try to prove this is the truth, balance rest is the wrong. So therefore, two ways. One thing is go to not to give any chance for any organ, but to be very vigilant in the center. That is called non-related to the senses, that is anindriya patipadda. Or otherwise, when where mind is fully engaged in listening, you know I am a listener. Whenever it is you are seeing, you know I am a seer. And they have so much of antagonism. Seer do not like the listener. Listener do not like the smelling person, touching person. Within yourself, huge fighting. So one lady trying to understand, she put it in this way. There's one ministry. Under the ministry, there are 5 departments. Under the 5 departments, 5 permanent secretaries. But the minister having one beautiful typist girl, every department head has to go and get their file early in the morning from that beautiful typist. So they are waiting in the center, in the counter. Everyone is trying to pull the attention of that girl because she is keeping all the file decoded. She only knows the coding system. So all the handsome 5 secretaries go and try to get the attention of that particular girl. She become more powerful than the minister. But she knows everyone has to come and do. This is how the Vijnana is going to take the advantage. Because only one Vijnana is working with the eye consciousness, same consciousness as eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose, tongue and the body. So much of demand, so therefore consciousness is interpreting terms. It takes the helm. So when and where you ask consciousness to go to hell and just have interest on nothing, then the consciousness will come and plead you, please keep me somewhat occupied, at least give me a portfolio even without assignment. That is what the Buddha is telling, put the fellow into the dustbin. And ultimately come and pleading you. And that pleading happened in the perverted way, in a cheating way. So in the meditation, each and every of you will experience it, but you have taken, they have fallen into their trap. They are appearing in a very cheating manner. In a very perverted way, consciousness makes stories, make fabrications, make volitional activities, make future planning, make innovative ideas, talking about the progress. So this is the way they titillate each and everyone. So you have to understand how perverted they are. So Anindriya Patipadda Vijnana is kind of a paralyzed Vijnana. Vijnana can't interpret terms. You know when and where it is domineering. You know this is the faculty they are dominating at. And each time you can joke with it. As far as you are dominating on the I, others are paralyzed. Now I know it. And that is the way you make your ego humble. Not arrogant. Therefore, this is not the Nibbana, but it's a kind of a intermediate stage where you can understand how the Vijnana is working. Yes, we will go to the next.
Most Venerable Bhante, about 6 months ago, I listened to the whole series of your Dhamma talk based on Nibbedika Sutta. From then onwards, I have completely given up all forms of mass media, TV, radio, newspapers, Interact News, YouTube, etc. As I do not get any muck from the world, I am now much relaxed and happy. I do not miss anything. I am sure that the world is also happily going on despite my lack of interest in their affairs. I am so grateful to you, Bhante, for your noble message. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Now I have to teach you how to be relaxed while observing YouTubes. So that is what I do. Whenever I go to the airport, I listen to each and every news reel from beginning to the end. Whenever I get a piece of paper and wrapped anything, I read everything. And when and where someone sending YouTube, I listen. I see it. And then see, once you see it's the vicious nature, it's a perverted nature, no problem. The Buddha says, if you have no wounds in your hand, you can put into the poison. If there are wounds, then only it will contaminate it. So don't worry about them. Mass media is a master as far as you are a slave. But if you know it, you can interpret terms. So don't worry. Mindfulness is very, very powerful. It is not a hiding thing. It is not escapism. It is not the kind of a thing you must be frightened of kilesas. But as far as you understand, you are recognizing, you are appreciating mindfulness, you give an artificial situation, laboratory conditions, and then you develop mindfulness. And once it has become diversified, you can live in the normal world and you understand how to insulate or get a distance from all the vicious things. So those who are understanding the mindfulness and still living inside the cage like a turtle inside the shell, they are well enough for their understanding and their own purification, their own liberation. But there are some other kind of people, they understand the way the mass media is working and they know mindfulness is very powerful, and they still handle mass media without any much of contamination. These are the people can bring the Sasana message to the society at large. So they are double positive. So therefore mindfulness is not a hinge, not a shackle. It is not a burden. Of course at the beginning you use it to develop mindfulness under controlled situation in order to introduce it. Once it is introduced, it gets harnessed with the clear comprehension, sampajanya. When the both of them come to work, you become more qualified to see mass media than the person with undeveloped mind. Then you can understand how perverted they are. We can see how the truth of suffering is working through their manifestation. They are man-made miseries, man-made crimes. They are doing with the white clothes, but the dirty fellows. But then only you can understand, whenever the defilements are associated, you are a criminal. So what is the meaning of the social value then? What is the social justice? What is the natural justice? It's utter nonsense. They are created by rogues. This constitution and judgment and everything. So as far as you are mindfully, you can do away with them. As soon as whenever the drama is happening, you can see the agenda. If you have no defilements, they can't hook you. You can still be aware. And the panoramic drama is going, you can see the dirty part. You can see the agenda. And so therefore don't think mindfulness is to simply cut off you from the mass media. But at the beginning, yes, But mind do the mindfulness is ultimately flourishing and pervading and diversifying. You can be a normal life, but only the difference is now you know. So they can't come and bait you. They can't come and buy you. Even if you've fallen into that, quickly you can recover without the help of the second person. So that is how the Buddha is immunizing us, galvanizing us. So coming here and not listening to media and to not talk to each other is to facilitate and promote the developing mindfulness. And once it develops, don't worry. Again, you will be back into the normal life, back into the tasking life. And the multimedia is no problem there.
Most Venerable Bhante, while I am doing Anapanasati, sometimes just I close my eyes and try to be mindful with the breath, I feel drowsy. But even with the drowsiness, I noted in-breath and out-breath, out-breath. After a while, I don't feel the breath. But thoughts come and go, pains come and go. Sometimes feel like sleep. Can't open my eyes or can't raise head. But again, after a little while, I am noting in-breath and out-breath. Is it all right with mindfulness, or am I fall into sleep at that time? Please instruct me. Thank you.
The information is not enough to give a complete analysis, but it hints the mindfulness is now not getting nourished through the primary object. It knows, whatever may be the situation, it knows how to understand the situation, how to take it under control, how to get the nutriments. So it's a kind of a diversification. So let the thing happen, but don't invite anything intentionally. But be ready to accept anything happen on your path. So I'm using two words, intentional doing and something happening. Anything happen, no defilements. Anything you do intentionally, volitionally and fabrication, full of defilements. Sabbe sankhara dukkha. Sabbe sankhara anicca. Sankhara means volitionally involved thing. But anything happen your way, on your way, it is no problem as far as you are unreacted. You are not unassuming. So therefore, let that happen, let it happen under the light of mindfulness, and then mindfulness know, it has its own knowledge to keep the stream of consciousness secured, safeguard. And still it is handling the good and the bad, correct and wrong things, but with due consideration. So therefore I feel like this is a kind of a diversification. Don't limit your mindfulness only to the primary object. Take this as a primary, take this as a reference point, as a pivotal point or benchmark. So don't lose the sight of the primary object permanently, then you are in a wrong track, in the danger. But if the primary object is view it, let anything happen. Don't try to be choosy. Try to have a choiceless awareness. Always you keep the connection to the primary object at a distance way. As long as that connection is there, meditation is progressive.
Most Venerable Bhante, in yesterday's Dhamma talk, it was mentioned that Akasa Dhathu has two components, internal and external. With regard to internal, it was said that it is a space in ear, nostril, etc. As per general understanding, until we move away from the gravitational power of the earth, space is filled with air. The space refers here, is it the space around the nucleus, where electrons are moving? Does this include space in the universe too?
It's contextual. When you show an empty glass, we say it is empty, but any person come to know it is not empty, it is having air. But as example, given the example, when you go to the space, that emptiness is something different. It says within 1 cube of space, there may be 1 atom of helium. So if you are going to scoop that as a source for a spacecraft, that fuel is not enough. But here, within the 1 cubic meter, so much of atoms. So likewise, space is a very relative thing. Whatever may be, phenomena is taking place in this space. Any matter, it is a stage. So, external space, we can say, for example, if you prepare a room, you refer to the 4 walls, but the room means space in between. That is what you are using. Walls are to demarcate external and internal, but if you are, according to the present day language, if a child is to understand the room, he may rather recognize it, the ceiling, the floor and the 4 walls. But the room means the space between. That is what we are using. So, our practical utility and usage is somewhat topsy-turvy. Therefore, we try to understand the walls as the part and parcel of the room. But the walls are just a demarcation of the internal and external. Likewise, you have to use the common sense to space, whether it's filled with air or it's condensed air or thin air, whatever may be, that is relative, contextual. But internal space, you understand the space within your mouth and the nose and the ear and in the bowels. Exactly outside also a space there. This is to, give some descriptions, give discrete understanding. The internal and external, most important thing is, whether it is internal or external, this is not me, this is not mine, this is not my soul. That is the thing Buddha wished to teach through this analysis.
Most Venerable Sir, it was mentioned in yesterday Dhamma talk that what we see and feel is in agglomeration. Is it because of the discrete nature of non-continuous nature of energy? Quantum mechanics, energy packet. As per what I understand, everything is made of Dhathu, 6 elements. Dhathu is energy, and everything is nothing but energy. In 4 elements, it could be a combination of matter and energy. And Nibbana, does it mean liberation of energy from matter forever?
So that you can give Nibbana many epithets or examples and kind of thing. But in Taoism it says, whatever may be explainable is never the eternal Tao. Anything explainable is filthy. The reality, the Nibbana or the Tao is the one you can't explain. Buddha says, Hatakkavachara. But our mind never happy as far as it is not explainable. We find our own definition. We always try to give a kind of a definition or label or shape or explanation. It's a losing game. It's a losing war. Forget about and practice it. And when you keep on, you can see the reduction of the burden, reduction of the friction. And ultimately you slowly come back to the least frictional part or the comfort zone. Then you can relatively understand, but absolute no. And absolute happened after your parinibbana. So then you will cry. Nibbana is someone, half boil is very good, but full boil no. So if I am to run the game, I have to stop the game at the half boil level, then I will be full at demand. If I am going to give the full boil game, so my business will be finished. So if I need clients, if I need a running business or very favorable commercial products, it must be half boiled. So this is also yet another way to explain the Nibbana, which is well explained as unexplainable or Atakkavachara. But we try our own way. The Buddha used to say it is yes and no. So that is the way we have to go to the next question.
Dear Venerable, yesterday after talking to you to sort out my primary object, I had an excellent sitting. Sati was sharp, picked up sound, sensations, but in a flash was back to my breathing. I had great energy and intense happiness. I think thoughts tried to emerge, but they just died down. I was like a rock. I could have stayed like this for a long time, but as it was getting quite late, I got up thinking I should go to bed. From the time I went to bed, I just could not fall asleep, as I was full of energy and charge. Perhaps early hours of the morning, I dozed off. Number one, I hindsighted, should I have remained meditating without going to bed? Number two, do I have samatha meditation, samatha inclination?
So in the meditation, once in a way, you get the Christmas. But each day is not the Christmas day. When it is happening, you are so excited and you so charged. So you wanted to have this continuously. You feel, had I had the proper instructions, I would have continuous throughout life. So you fail to understand is something relative. Whenever you are very stressful, release appear like a heaven. Again, when you are in a release, it appear like boring. It's monotonous. It's not dramatic. Again, when you go through another kind of stress, and again peace, relaxation, this happens. So therefore, the best way to take the situation under control or to master the situation, facilitate this kind of sittings as much as possible. Let the mind to experience it again and again. More and more you experience, you become mature. You are not dreaming about that. The advantage is, once you come to know this under your very nose, you know you have the potential. Next time will be a failure, but you have more potential, more possibility to hit the target again, rather than a person who has never experienced. So that's the only positive gain you get it. So you have to facilitate it again and again. When it happens, you will understand it's a matter of combination. If everything aligns, you are there. If the alignment is not there, you can't see. There is no other external factors. There is no other decisive factors. So you have to keep on practicing. While practicing, again, the alignment can take place. Then the energy transmission can take place. If it is not aligned, energy transmission is not 100%. So you are doing trial and error. But the very first incident indicates you have the potential. And you know there is no second person, nothing involved outside thing. So you have to keep on practicing. And don't expect this is to be continuous throughout. And don't expect the frustration also to be continuous throughout. They are reciprocal, they are relative to each other. So this is a very good sign to indicate that your investment is worth. And again, and when you are going, it is like a target shooting. First time when you shoot the target, you feel very happy. But the next shot is not sure. But more and more shooting, the successful things become more frequent. So that is a normal training. And keep on practicing, only you develop the assurance that I can shoot the bullseye. So this is a good sign on that. But more than that, don't try to be excited, but try to get the normal common sense, how I can facilitate this kind of situation from the given variables, and definitely will be successful with time to come.
There are no more questions.
So that's the last.
Bhante, that was my question. What I find so difficult to understand is when you are in such a tranquil state, how was it the vijnana which tells you now it's time to go to bed when you are in such a tranquil and
No, that is the habit. Our habitual and biological clock. Our machine is being trained to the movements of the sun. within such a connected way, so you don't know the biological clock. So once the Buddha says, when the mind is been trained, when you have enough concentration, you can command on your biological clock. If you are not in the concentration, you are under the command of that habit. So therefore you can't blame yourself telling that it is I did it. You can't escape telling I don't know. So therefore if someone criminal is going to do a crime, through his habit, we get together and put into the jail and hang the fellow and kill the fellow. But we are also criminals. That is not the thing we wish to do, but it is happening. So you have to understand the good things or the bad thing. As far as it's a habit, you are a slave. I am repeating, whether it's a good or bad, if it is a habit, you are a slave. So breaking habit is a very difficult task, but possible. That is what it says, neuroplasticity. Your brain can be rewired. Train your mind and change your brain. So this is a very spark telling your training is happening. So indicate that you can change your likings and disliking. You can rewire your habit. And therefore you have to understand now we are in an utter rut. In such a blinkers, we see only the truth that I call truth. A huge panorama we are closing by putting blinkers. So how can we say drug addicted? How can we say alcoholic? Each and every one of us are addicted. We feel very sorry. We keep on practicing, but the kind of narrow-minded kind of thinking, argumenting we are, and throughout the day we are trying to prove it. We are trying to tell that I am correct. I am coming from, it is coming just not from the sky, it is have the rationality, my likings and disliking, my faith, but I learn and everything. But when the habit going to interpret the terms, you are a mere slave. So at the deathbed, what I want to say, with whom you are going to file a case? Utter failure. Utter failure. So now at least when you are rehearsing it, you understand what kind of argumentation you can do at the deathbed. So you understand, not governable. It is something that worth accepting. It is not governable. You can't interpret terms. And in the other way it is, you have no controlling power. So therefore, you are a slave to someone's agenda. And therefore you have, your life is a DVD already filmed in unedited form. You only can see, but you can't edit it. It is destined. And therefore, don't find fault with other people. They are also, according to their own destiny, and mind your own business. And try to understand where it is being directed. And by observing, you lose the shackle. Otherwise, you are in such a shackles. You are in such a hook. And lucky or unlucky thing is, you love them as your hobbies, your pet ideas. And you promote it, you facilitate it till the deathbed. And there only you find nothing answerable, nothing is answering at the death. It's an utter failure. But here indicates, of course, it's a good incident. And you know each and every moment you are living. There's a huge pull. You must get up and go and sleep. So you can understand under such good circumstances also, you are just like a bull with the Nissarana. Put reins. Put the reins and the reins you put to the horse with the katakaliyava, but the bull is much very strong, fully niched. So we have to understand we are under the order or the agenda of the universal law. But with the understanding you feel like you are like the failure and you are just a subject. But even then the Buddha says that understanding is putting you into the proper shape. You put it in the proper perspective. So therefore try your best to understand the universal law. You can't change it. Even the Buddha can't change it. But he can understand it. That means he knows the circuit. And he wish all the other listeners to understand it. By understanding you can do away with the vicious consequences. But it is not, that does not indicate you are the master. You can take it under the helm. It is happening, and you can predict. This is what's going to happen in the way you get released from the universal law.
Swami Maha, I'm also in a habit now. I wake up in the morning at 1 o'clock, and then until 9:30, I used to do walking meditation. I calculated 8 hours. So it's not a habit, it's just going on. And it doesn't worry about me, but it's a good energy. But the thing is, what will happen when I go back home? Because at home I don't find any time to do that meditation. But here it's very smoothly, it's going. And 9:30 to 1 o'clock, good sleep. And every day 1 o'clock I wake up. So I have a shower and then do walking meditation. And about 8 hours a day. But will it be a habit?
No, if it's circumstantial. As far as you are here, you can practice.
Yeah.
Habit is that ultimately you become slave. It takes long time. It is to be biologically digested into your system. And ultimately it is going to interpret terms.
Yeah.
For addiction.
Yeah.
Habit is called worse, we call addiction. So this is the way it is starting. Once you keep on practicing knowingly or unknowingly, then habit going to be addiction. Buddha says, Sanya Chitta Ditti. First you get the perception, and when you more and more familiarize it, it becomes your mental state, and ultimately become your view. At the Sanya level and Chitta level, it is adjustable, recoverable. But when you go to the Ditti level, even to the Buddha, sorry, you can't. So these are the habit-forming process. Not yet gone into gone into addiction. Once become addiction.
Yeah, it's not, I can feel it. It's not addiction. But I don't feel like doing sitting meditation now. I just want to walk. It's relaxing. And some experiences. And
so that means the meditation means it is not always should be confined to the sitting or walking. As far as you are keeping the mindfulness, whatever the posture, if the mindfulness is increasing, it is continuous and it becomes sharp, you are becoming independent of your posture. Yes, please.
I have been meditating for a long time, but I can see that I am more of a samathanika meditator because sometimes I see a light around where I feel the breath, and also, but sometimes I feel something, fluid falling inside, or even along my arms, like blood flow. But during the rest of the day, I try to contemplate on the Dasa Sanya, especially up to the Pahana Sanya. So that is my main aim, just to remove the unemotional factors so that I can keep my mind away from defilement. And during the sitting meditation, I can see that these 5 hindrances are at bay, and I feel very relaxed and peaceful. And my life also has become very peaceful life and with less worries. But at the same time, I know my anger and defilements are at the dormant level. So my question is, without practicing direct vipassana, will I be able to reach these dormant defilements and remove them?
No, you are talking with an assumption. Of course, it is backed by a certain amount of observations. So, assuming that you are a Samatyanika character, but the Samatyanika character is not a permanent one, it is changing. Nothing permanent in the world. Morning you will be Samatyanika, evening you will be Vipassana Yanika. So, therefore, there's no yardstick. There's no single criterion to measure it. The Samatyanika means that you are tackling the desire. You try to be dispassionate. And Vipassana Yanika is try to do away with the ignorance. You try to understand the mechanism. So same thing, you are looking, same phenomena, same experience, you are looking from two different points. The Samatyanika is always try to do away with the tanha, try to do away with the desire. So dispassionate going on. But the Vipassana Yanika, even the things are available, it is a matter of attachment. It's a matter of reaction. I know the mechanism, therefore let the things be. It is not to give out, not to give to someone, but let the luxuries and the utilities and all the available, but how to get the detached in the philosophical way, in the wisdom way, in the knowledgeable way. So therefore, both of them get the relinquishment from the materialism. The Samatyanika relinquish from by creating dispassionate feeling to the material. But the vice person or the Vipassana Yanika, they understand the mechanism. Even they mingle with these luxuries, never get contaminated. So these two has to go in hand in hand. Otherwise there is no progress. But Samatyanika person only see the problem from the getting rid of tanha. Vipassana Yanika is not much worry about the tanha. It is try to understand what is happening. See things as they are. So I think to have the experience that you explain, you cannot be only Samatyanika. Already Vipassana backing is there. So continue as far as you know, defilements are becoming weaker and weaker, thin and thin, and you develop the peace of mind or relaxation or solitude. The meditation will take care about the path. Meditation will take care about the method. And you have to facilitate the mindfulness. Throughout, you will understand mindfulness is gathering the momentum, become steadfast. Once you develop, you can keep long time. But even then, it is not consistent. Never mind that their qualities are increasing. And quantity is also increasing. If that is happening, that is the only thing you can do it for you.
Honorable Sir, I was seated doing Anapanasati today, and I must have been there for about 2 hours, 1.5 to 2 hours. And for the most part, it seemed to be choiceless awareness is what you call it, though that's not what I was thinking at the time. I would often be with my breath, but sometimes it was at the tip of the nose or the upper lip. Sometimes it was the lungs and the diaphragm. Sometimes my awareness seemed to go to my neck and the different bones in the neck where I have had injuries in the past. Sometimes it seemed to go to the arm, also where I had surgery, or the legs. Different parts would come into my consciousness for a period and then seem to fade. But at the end of it, I remember something you said maybe 1 or 2 days ago. You said when one is mindful, then you have total recall. Whereas I have very little recall, and I didn't feel as though I was being mindful, But I do know that the mind didn't go too far outside. It was mostly within me. So, how do I know, or how does one know when one is actually being mindful?
No, the very statement indicate that you can remember, you can't recall.
So if I can't recall, then I was not mindful.
No, it's a very good mindfulness. You can recall that you can't recall.
Aiyo.
I mean, that is why you are raising the question. You experience, it is so lucid, so vivid, while it is happening. Now, if you are going to remember, it is not. It is such a remarkable state. You are so vivid, so living, so immediate while you are experiencing, and later you found they are marked with the watercolors, not with the permanent markings. So this is the kind of release you get it. And mindfulness is the very thing recalling you are this inability to recall. I am not confusing you. I am very clear what I am talking about.
But I feel confused.
No.
For example, when people talk about their meditation experiences, there is the excitement, which I have also sometimes had, and the tremendous release of energy. There was none of that.
But anyway, you lucidly, very immediately, you experience it, everything happening, and just like passing clouds, one after the other, they go. You are not accountable. You know, you can't remember. You remember only partial knowledge. If it is complete by itself, not necessary to remember. Because it is by itself which is complete. But now you remember, you can't remember. You can't miss that point. That is why the question. Now you clearly remember that very episode. Went very nicely while it is happening. Now you know you can't remember. That knowledge you can't erase from your knowledge.
There is something else you said, I think in one of the Dhamma Deshana a couple of days ago. You talked about actually 100% recall.
Chirakatampi, chirabhasitampi, sarita, anusarita. That is the one definition for the sati. The Buddha says, what you have talked and what you have seen long ago, vividly you can remember.
Yes.
But what about your vividity and remembrance of the unrecoverability, unrememberability?
For example, if one were to talk to a psychiatrist, the psychiatrist can hypnotize a person and take them back through several lifespans, and that person will have 100% recall of everything, like a film.
Yeah.
So, we all have that memory somewhere deep down inside.
You can claim, no problem. I am not fighting with you.
No, but it's what you said.
No, it is the memory is separate, and you can recalling and remembering is separate. You have the stores, you don't have the key.
I see. So that then is a problem with the wiring in the brain.
Only for that event. You can't generalize it. You can't generalize that event, yes, that vividly you experience, and you thought it be in the crystal clear photostat memory. But now what happened was, that event itself, you know, by that time it is very vivid, very lucid, but as you expect, it is not in the photostat memory, it is gone. I will give an example, I don't know whether it will get connected
I guess
or
the
not.
question was then, was I meditating at that time or not?
No, the problem is you are not there. So how can be a meditator?
That's really confusing. That's not fair.
As far as I hear, the memory has to happen, the meditation must happen, but when the meditation is happening completely, you are no more. Dhamma is working. Cause and effect relationship is going. You are a neutral observer. But now you try to assume yourself.
I see.
So, I'm sorry. That's the only way. You have to say, I am sorry. When everything happened nicely, no one can throw parties. No, never. You are no more. That is how the experience becomes contented, experience becomes successful, experience satisfactory. No, it is not to your credit. It is the credit to the Dhamma. And one day the Nissarana Maharaj, he was already passed away. He used to be a businessman on BD. You know, BD, the cigar. And even after so-called he became a jnani, that is enlightened being according to their tradition, still he smoked cigarettes. So when the devotee came to him, jnani, that you are supposed to lead the ethical life, and you are training and you are recognized as jnani, but why you addicted to this BD? Then he says, why you are not why you are addicted to not smoking? You don't do you understand? You are addicted to non-smoking, that is why he finds fault with the smoking is bad. Everything is relative. Everything is relative. So, nothing to worry, never mind. That meditation will lead to a better place than what you thought about. What you thought about is, it's a kind of a hallucination. And the meditation is something realistic. So this is the way you lose your rationality. You can't argue and you can't reason it out. But you remember, you have a very happy remembrance, but you can't reason it out. That I will assure for you. I will scatter off and shatter off your ego. Smash it. That is my prime task. Okay, now we have taken 15 minutes more than the due time. So we will be going for walking meditation. And 3 o'clock we are going to have a group sitting. Thank you very much for the participation of this question and answer session.